Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we praise and celebrate and honor and hold in the light those who are truly making significant contributions in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful to be here. I want to thank Wilkes Communications, River Street Productions, and 100.9 WIFM for this opportunity, and what an honor it is to be here. My featured guest today is Ms. Anita Cranston. She's the Executive Director at the Blue Ridge Artisan Center at 201 West Main Street in Wilkesboro. What an incredible addition to our community, and just a legacy about history, about architecture, about preserving music and art. And thank you again for being here, and good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
We're talking about Michelle and Dale Isom and you and the partnership. Would you tell us about how you met the Isoms and this?
Well, yes. My husband and I moved here about 3 years ago from Spokane, Washington, and we're members of the Church of Christ here in Wilkesboro. And Dale is one of our elders at the church, and so that's how we met. I had worked in the cosmetic industry on and off for about 25 years. I was account coordinator for a company out of Spokane, and so jobs are a little different here, and it was difficult to find one, so I did several different things before falling into this. Dale and Michelle had invited me to attend a meeting of minds, so to speak, and they had invited several artists. They were thinking about doing something, and they didn't give me a lot of detail, for the artist community, the cultural arts of Northwest North Carolina, and they asked me if I would come and give my input in the meeting, and they had invited quite a few people. And afterwards, they asked me, they said, "We want you to be the director."
Wow.
And I was like, I don't know if I can do that. So I think I turned him down twice before he finally talked me off the ledge. It's an amazing opportunity.
It is amazing.
I have been taking art lessons since I was young, and art in high school and college, but being a military wife, because my husband was in the Navy, we moved every couple of years, and you don't really get the opportunity to establish yourself as an artist in a community like that. And plus, raising kids and packing and unpacking is quite the chore. It takes a semi to get us anywhere.
Yes.
So the opportunity to do something like this that helps artists who, in ways that I could never have, ways that would have benefited me as an artist, is amazing. They purchased the building in December, and it formed this. The idea is to have a guild, the Blue Ridge Artisan Guild, which is a nonprofit organization. Artists bring their work and jury in through the guild, and if the guild finds that their work is acceptable or that they are masters of their craft, then they have the opportunity to sell their work at the Blue Ridge Artisan Center. So the Blue Ridge Artisan Center is the home of the guild. It's also, the building has been titled the 1915 in honor of the year that it was built, and there will be weddings and events there as well. And we'll have an Artisan Cafe. So it's more than just an art, and it's not an art gallery, it's an artisan market. So it is different from, say, the art gallery in Wilkes, in North Wilkesboro, which is a fabulous facility. And this will have things other than just aesthetic art, so functional art as well. So hats and scarves, stools, rocking chairs, violins, guitars, paintings, crafts. Well, not essentially a craft can be, an artisan is a level above a crafter.
Okay.
So a crafter might buy a kit and make something, or buy prefabbed pieces and put something together, or repurpose things and make something crafty, whereas an artisan is more of a master of a media.
Okay.
So wood turners, woodworkers who make bowls that are functional, as well as aesthetic. Potters who make pottery, statues, anything from a statue that's aesthetically pleasing to your coffee mug in the morning. We have a broad range, things that would never have a showing at an art gallery. You know, so some artists make only functional items, and they don't necessarily have art showings, whereas to have a showing in a gallery is an exceptional thing and quite an honor. This is more like it's like a mix between an art gallery and an artisan booth. but they won't be manning their booths. It is literally a market or a facility that takes the artwork in and handles it from the moment the artisan is accepted into the guild and signs their contract to sell their work. We handle them from there on in. We handle the taxes and the commission and the split and tagging it, bagging and tagging, as the military would say. So we handle it from that point on.
Ms. Cranston, let's talk some more about the beautiful building.
Oh,
the
certainly.
Architecture and some of the moments that you shared with Dale and Michelle about why are we doing this. So let's talk about the building. I was just overwhelmed to see the inside of it.
It is beautiful, and they've done an amazing job of renovating it back to as close to its original style as possible. So all the detail work is there. The building was built in 1915, and the architect was James A. Whitmore. It was the U.S. Federal Courthouse from 1915 to 1969. And in '69, they built the newer courthouse, the Hayes Building, and it became the Board of Education. And the Board of Education was there until 2006, when it was bought by Johnson Realty and was a real estate company. And then in December of 2017, Dale and Michelle bought it with the purpose of creating this artisan market.
And I think we talked about the preservation of arts and music. Tell us about that a little bit.
The mission statement, or the mission for the Artisan Center, is to promote and preserve the cultural arts of Northwest North Carolina, and to educate people on that culture, music, some literature. We don't have we don't jury in literature at this point, but there can be poetry readings or small plays, music, and of course art in all forms. So the goal is to educate the public on the cultural arts of Northwest North Carolina, preserve those cultures, and help. You find, for example, you'll find somebody who maybe they make fiddles, but they're not mentoring anybody. We want these artisans who are masters of their craft to take in new artisans. So we have artisans who are older, and then we have young artisans coming in who can benefit from the mentoring of someone more experienced, so that that culture is preserved and doesn't die off.
Dale shared that the accomplished work folks who have rehabbed the inside, if you will, and the blending of the blue and the gray, and he's walking around with a drill, and he said he could do almost anything except electrical, maybe.
Right.
And he's a
an architect.
hands-on guy.
Yes, he is.
Michelle was there too. So.
He's there more than I am.
Yeah.
Every time I come in, he's in there putting shelves together, and I think he likes that. I think it's it's kind of a peaceful thing to him.
Sure.
I come in and I'll find him in our retail section, and he's got all the boxes open, and he's putting together shelves and display units, and just happy as a clam.
On the main floor, kind of walk through that with us and tell us
Certainly.
what's going to be available there.
Okay, well the building has a central gallery, or the main part of the building, and then it has two separate wings. So the main gallery has the three large arched windows that shine into the gallery, which was the original courthouse. Where the judges stand, a podium is now a stage for the music and for demonstrations as well. And that room is the main gallery for the Artisan Center. So that will be filled with artwork that is on, and Dale has designed this system of displaying the shelves and everything, having built to size so that they roll into the doors. Right. So that whenever there's a wedding, and his son will be getting married in July, they roll everything out, and we take it into the two back rooms and store it. You can have a wedding, you can have a reunion, you can have a conference, and then when that's over, we roll it all back out again. So that's the main part of the gallery, and behind it are two rooms. To the left is an office, and to the right will be a smaller version of the gallery where quite a few of the paintings will be held, probably. But you don't walk into the main gallery, you walk into the left wing.
Yes.
And as you walk in, the room on the left was originally where the jury was sequestered, and that is going to be our small retail shop. So there are items that don't jury in, that might be maybe too small, like corkscrews or small flowers that clip on to hats or things like that, honey, molasses, coffee. We have coffee from Honduras, a mission in Honduras, and I cannot remember how to pronounce it. I can't remember how to pronounce it. I won't butcher it, but it's a mission that teaches the community. They raise up teachers in their community to teach their own children. So not only are they taught the gospel, but they're educated as well. So they have started a coffee farm in order to help support that mission. And so we'll have coffee from the Honduras mission there, as well as Anchor Coffee is there as well. They came in yesterday and delivered some items. So that first room will be a retail shop. And when you walk into that hallway, the arches are they have columns, and they're segmented, and there are ocular windows in the ceiling, like skylights. And they have painted it in various shades of blue to represent the Blue Ridge Mountains. So it's a very peaceful feeling, but it's also indicative of the heritage that we're trying to preserve.
Right.
So the first room is the retail shop, or where the jury was sequestered, and then there is this beautiful desk, handmade desk by Stephen Green, who is one of our artisans and local here as well. He used to teach teach woodworking in the high schools as well.
Okay.
And the desk is your welcome desk, and it has the large logo of the Blue Ridge Artisan Center on it. The door to the right leads into the main gallery, and then there's another door you can slip in, and the offices are right behind that. So my office is on the left after that. I believe it used to be the superintendent's office. Mm-hmm. And then there are the two back rooms that go across the back of the gallery, as well as that, and then a corner room that we'll be using for storage, and then the stairs down to the basement. And we haven't done anything with the basement yet. Okay. That's a work. It's not even a work in progress right now. As my dad says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So we're still on the first floor. To the right of the main gallery is the second wing, and that entrance will lead to the Artisan Cafe. So the first room there was originally the postmaster's office, and that's been converted to restrooms just because it was the only way we could do it. Mm-hmm. And then you'll have the cafe, which will have local food, wine, and coffee. And behind that is a small kitchen. It won't have a large kitchen. It'll be more like kind of like a Starbucks. You'll be able to walk in and just order a coffee and walk out. There'll be tables across the front of the building with umbrellas, so you can sit outside and eat. And at the far end of it is a door that leads back into the gallery, so you can come in and have lunch, and then you can step into the gallery and shop if you like.
Okay. Seating, 120, I think you said?
Yes, approximately 120 seated. Mm-hmm. And so
So
standing more like
see
150.
recitals being in there, things of that nature?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Anything you want to reserve it for that we can make work, we'll do it.
So as a community asset, tell us about how the vision is to combine the community with the facility and just be a part of all the good things. Tell us about that.
Well, Wilkesboro has, and all of the counties, so we have 9 counties that we represent: Ashe, Allegheny, Alexander, Caldwell, Surrey, and Iredell, Wilkes, Watauga, and Yadkin. So you have to be, as an artist, you have to be a resident of one of those counties in order to jury in and have your work there. So we're really trying to focus on just Northwest North Carolina and promote that as we, and who knows, in the future it may grow. But for now, we're just tackling those 9 counties. So the goal is not just to have people come and spend money there, but to go out into those communities. So I see the front desk is kind of a concierge desk. So there we'll have there are arts councils in each of the counties, and each art council has a monthly calendar of events. So say if you came in and you were looking for something, I said, so Gary, where are you going today? Where are you traveling off to? So yeah, I see you've bought some pottery and you're going off to Boone for the day. Well, this potter actually has a studio in Boone, or in Boone they have the Arts Council, and you can visit the Arts Council there. So the goal is to send people who purchase there back out into the communities that we service, to send them to their arts councils, to send them to the Artisans studios, to send them to the events on those art councils calendars. So if they're going to spend the weekend in Boone and I have the art council's calendar of events for Boone, I can make them a copy, or I can recommend some things that they could go to, or say they're staying in North Wilkesboro or Wilkesboro for the day. There's elsewhere to eat. There's Prince of Fortes. I mean, we've got so much wonderful food here and things to do, and there's the art gallery in North Wilkesboro as well. So if you bought pottery and you said, you know, I've always wanted to do this, and I'd say, well, you know what? The art gallery offers pottery classes. You should check that out. Let me give you some information. So it's a nonprofit. So the guild is nonprofit. The gallery will have the events to help float the, because we have to pay for the building.
Right.
And but it's not really about making money. It's about growing that community or that creative economy of Northwest North Carolina. So the more we send people out, the greater our community does. So they'll eat here, they'll stay here, in all the counties, and they'll visit those artisan studios, they'll visit the art councils, they'll attend art crawls or pottery classes or painting classes or drawing classes. And we'll offer classes as well on various things starting, I believe, in the fall. We'll be working with the 12-note program, which is run by Larry Skipper.
Yes.
And we'll be having the classes, I believe, are going to be in the basement, which will be one of the classrooms that we use. So we want to grow the community and empower artists and artisans to make a living at that. And if you look at, for example, Heartwood, which you and I spoke about earlier.
Yes, we did.
Heartwood Center in Abington, Virginia is a visitor center, but we've kind of modeled ourselves a little after them. They're a visitor center with a cafe, and they have artwork all that's indicative of their area from a guild called Round the Mountain. So that's kind of how we formatted ours. Their work juries through Round the Mountain, and then they sell it at that visitor center. And we jury ours through the Blue Ridge Artisan Guild to be sold in the Blue Ridge Artisan Center. I spent a lot of time with Diana Blackburn, who was the director at that time. She's retired from that now. But I asked her, I said, has this improved the economy of the communities that these artists come from? And she said, yes, we've seen a great increase in the economy as well as the tourism. Not just the economy of the artisans themselves, but in the tourism in the area. So if you're offering work from artisans, and we have some beautiful, just beautiful stuff. Every time I go in there, it's just, I just want to touch everything. So there are these gorgeous cutting boards that every time I go in, I've got my hands on one of Chuck Smithy's cutting boards because they're just so gorgeous. And I sold one to a sheriff yesterday. Yeah. And I've picked out the ones for my kids for Christmas, and he's just going to have to make a lot more. Gorgeous paintings, beautiful wool, felted items.
Wow.
So the more we have people who come in and learn about the artisans, who will also be giving demonstrations as well as part of their contribution to the center. When you purchase something, the more you know about the artisan that made it, the more likely you are to make a sale, for one thing, but also the more connected they become to that artisan, and the more likely they are to tell someone else.
Okay.
And make a return purchase.
Ms. Cranston, I want to go back to the historical importance of the building. There's a plaque there that says 1915. 1915. Tell us just a little bit more about being registered and some of the significance about the values and the principles of the ISOMs to bring this, to revitalize a tremendous treasure, I'm thinking.
Yes.
Do that a little bit more.
The building itself is a work of art. Yeah. And Dale being an architect, obviously sees that, and they don't make buildings like this anymore. It's 3 layers of brick with plaster, and if we ever get hit by a bomb, everybody should run there because that's got to be the safest building in town. They have renovated it back to as close to its original state as possible. It's built in the federal style. Federal Revival style with a very strong Roman influence. So the main gallery is 2.5 stories high with a barrel ceiling, and both of the side wings have barrel ceilings as well, which is very Roman. It's like Roman temple influence. There's the dental work, you know, the little squares that go like that. So there's the dental work all along. There's the arch, the molding above the arches. The windows are arched. There's the temple peaks above the doorways, which is very Roman as well. There's a lot of, some of the same work is repeated on the outside of the building as well. Originally everything was wood. When the education department came in, they painted everything white. And so the woodwork had all been painted white. We looked at that, and that was not doable to remove the paint because of lead and things like that. And because there's so much detail on it, it would take years to get all the paint off, which was just sad. But they did find the original 103-year-old floors in the down in the retail, and then in my office and in the offices in the back of the gallery. Those could be preserved. Those were the only ones that they could preserve. The main gallery, they put in a floor that is has cork under it, because we'll have barn dances the first Friday of every month. So we have a Bob Kogut and his wife Roberta Kogut. She calls and he plays the fiddle, and so the first Fridays, I'm not sure when that starts.
Like square dance?
Like square dancing and barn dancing.
Really?
That will be on the first Fridays. The Isons are friends with the Kruger brothers who've done our sound checks, and so hopefully we'll see more of them in there as well. And they know, and having been involved in the music arena for as long as they have, because Michelle is very, very strong in the music area, and she is the founder of the Heart of Folk. And Carolina in the Fall, which is September 21st and 22nd, and we will be open all hours during Carolina in the Fall. We'll have music on the front porch playing at all times, and we'll have all the merchandise. So it'll be the merchandising home of Carolina in the Fall. They've given a lot back to the musical community. The Heritage Museum's Bluegrass, what is it called? It's the Bluegrass Hall of Fame. Renovated that and did a lot with that. And so they've wanted to expand on that, recognizing that music isn't the only thing that the Blue Ridge Mountains has. And in all the places I've lived, I mean, my husband and I have moved, we moved 11 times in 22 years, and we just moved into North Wilkesboro from Boomer. That's move number 13. So in all the places that I've lived across the country and out of the country, I have never been anywhere where there are so many artists that you can't but trip over one every time you step out the door. They're either artisans or musicians, or and culinary as well. I mean, you're inundated with it. So it's not hard to find artists. Sometimes it's hard to convince them to step out on a ledge and try something new. But I think once we open, I'm not going to have to chase anybody down anymore. They'll be beaten down by the door.
So you're also going to be an information hub. A person could come into that concierge and ask questions, and we'll be ready to answer where to go, how to go, when to go, those type things.
To the best of our ability. We do rely on those art councils to provide us with the information. So I reach out to them. Of course, you can go online and copy off their schedules. But any information the arts councils want to provide, we are happy to take and send those people back out. So we want to be an information hub for the artisans of Northwest North Carolina.
Let's talk again about the quality of the art and how an artisan qualifies to have his or her items in your wonderful facility.
Well, when Dale and Michelle asked to have that meeting of the minds, they invited artisans that they knew were exceptional at what they did. So Bob Kogut and John Maddox, who are both luthiers and fiddles and violins and such. We have potters, we have woodworkers. Lyle Wheeler is the chairman of the Blue Ridge Artisan Guild. Now he makes rocking chairs, so he does woodworking as well as ironwork, and has quite an extensive experience working with guilds. So as the chairman, he has been very directional for us and given us a lot of direction in that, and formed the committees and that sort of thing. So we started with artisans who were already exceptional at what they did, and tried to find some from all of the 9 counties. I believe we have somebody from every county.
Tell us those again, if you will.
Ashe, Allegheny, Alexander, Caldwell, Surrey, Iredell, Wilkes, Watauga, and Yadkin.
And the items will come from those counties, is that right?
The artisans come from those counties.
Okay.
So those artisans have to have a residence in those counties, or they don't qualify to even come through the application process.
Okay.
So if you are an artisan from one of those counties and you're interested in selling your work or having access to the Blue Ridge Artisan Center through the Guild, you would fill out an application which can be found. We have a link on our Facebook page. I don't think it's on the website yet, but you can also email me and have it sent. You fill out the application. It requires 5 images of your work and with descriptions. The Guild will review all the applications that they receive, and the qualifying members will be invited to a jury process. So our next application is due. Our next jury process is August 24th and 25th. The application is due back to me by August 1st. They send that to me. The standards committee, which has somebody from each of those medias on it, and if we don't have somebody, we reach out into the community and find somebody to volunteer to jury for that during that time. They review those applications to make sure that they do qualify, which would mean that they live in the area, that their work is at a certain level, because in the descriptions, the process that they use is described. So they want to make sure that they know what they're doing, that their work looks good, and that they live in those areas. And if all those qualifications fit, they will invite them to come to the jury. So on the 17th, 18th, and 20th, they would drop off 5 pieces minimum of physical work to the Artisan Center. We take it all down into one of those basement storerooms, and then on the 24th and 25th, the Standards Committee juries that work.
Okay.
There are 5 judges for each artist. Each one has, the score is, you either score a 1, 2, 4, or a 5. There are no 3s so that you don't get a tie. And if you qualify, and it's a $25 fee. So if you qualify, your $25 goes towards your $50 a year membership. So
Right.
you don't have to pay $25 and then another $50, it's just $50 total. If you're off by a couple of points, they will make suggestions of things to improve on and encourage you to come back to the next jury. Right. We hope to have one in November, and the $25 rolls over to that, so you don't have to pay it again.
We're coming close to
Sure.
the end. Let's spend the rest of our time sharing the essence of the awesome couple that would gift us such a wonderful, wonderful addition to this community.
You know, they just have the biggest hearts and a great heart for God. They are a powerhouse together. And when I started working in the office, the Spectrum office over across from the Hampton Inn, this undertaking is huge. And I'm just going, how are we going to get all this done? How am I going to get all this done? And talking to Katie and Elena in the office, they're like, miracles happen in this office all the time. And
Wow.
they do.
Yeah.
And they do. They are blessed because they are a blessing. And they're just wonderful, giving, godly people. They've been blessed, and they feel that it's their obligation to, in turn, take those blessings and turn them back around.
Michelle and Dale Isom, significant, awesome contributors to our community. And we're so grateful
Yes,
that they're
they
here
are.
to gift us this wonderful opportunity. I've been sharing today with Ms. Anita Cranston. She's the Executive Director of the Blue Ridge Artisan Center. It's at 201 West Main Street, right beside the town of Wilkesboro office building. It's been a great experience, and this is a wonderful, wonderful addition to our community, and finish with how it's enhanced your life.
All my life, I have been an artist. My parents gave me art lessons at a young age, even though they couldn't afford it, because my dad just saw it. I took every art class I could get. I went on to college and took art in printmaking and painting and all those courses. Ended up marrying a Navy man, lived in Japan, had all those moves. And artists typically are very insecure. We don't know what to charge. We can't sell it. It's part of our souls. We don't know what to do with it. And so it is I don't produce a lot of art anymore. I do a little from time to time. I make cards or whatever, but to be able to be involved in something that will help other artists in ways that I wish I could have been helped at that stage is empowering.
Thank you.
And it's an amazing opportunity. It's that once in a lifetime opportunity that drops in your lap when you least expect it.
Ms. Cranston, thank you for sharing your experience and your hope and your faith, and what an honor, and come back again sometime.
Thank you, and you can check us out on the web. So it's www.blueridgeartisancenter.org.
Thank you.
You're welcome.